What's up everybody, my name is Apple and welcome to a new video. So, it's a bit jumping the gun, I suppose, but it is worth doing now because we're only going to have a month to prepare. So, the new season is coming soon, and the one thing I wanted to talk about was the prep for the new season. So, much like what I do every season, I'm just going to go over a few tidbits that I'm going to be doing to start grinding up for materials and whatnot for the new season, and I implore you to do the same. So, first and foremost, these are going to be your best friends, Enhancement Cores. Make sure you're getting lots of them. So, these will mostly be acquired when you're doing Nightfalls. I'd probably say run Master Nightfalls to get like the best kind of outcome, because that way you can get prisms as well, which I'm actually direly low on, which so I'll probably need to grind that up to a max stack again. But if you can't do Master, Hero works as well. So, some bits of advice that I would give you for this: make sure you have some finest matter weave, as this will give you an enhancement core, or at least a chance of an enhancement core if you beat a boss. So these don't have to be the end of the stripe bosses, these can be a boss in between. I think at the minute it's corrupted as of recording, so I believe there's only the one boss. But I have seen this prop before when you are killing orange bars, and this might be a good way to farm your enhancement cores. The second little tidbit is to do with your ghost. So if you go to your ghost and the nativity mod slot at the back, if you go to this one over here that is a 4, the lesser core harvest, defeating bosses in Vanguard playlist strikes or Nightfalls has a chance to award enhancement core. This is just another way to add extra cores into what you're getting already. Of course, if you're trying to focus on prisms, you can do the greater core harvest, which will then reward you with prisms when you beat the Nightfall. Similarly, if you are wanting to grind Crucible or Gambit, there are also mods for the exact same thing as well. But the reason I'm specifically focused on enhancement cores is because you can trade these enhancement cores up to prisms and then eventually Ascendant shards if that is what you want to go for. Obviously, this will cost a lot more than just running Master Nightfalls, but in the event that you don't have a fire team to run the Master Nightfalls with, this is also an alternative you can do. Now, the second thing that you can be grinding for is Ascendant Alloys. So this is only if you're going to be focused on weapon crafting, which will be a recurring thing going forward. This will allow you to get the enhanced perks if you are going to be training to do that. So as far as I know, you can get these from the weekly campaign missions in the Throne World, which is what it pretty much says on the Ascendant Alloy. You can also be purchased from Cryptarch or Banshee 44 in the tower. There is also another way that I found out that you can get them. If you do the Leviathan public event, it will also have a chance to drop Ascendant Alloys as well. I also believe the Wellspring has a chance to drop these as well, so there is a few ways to get them. Also on the topic of crafting, you have the Resonant Alloys and also Drowned Alloys, if you are running raids, that is. So mostly you're going to be focused on Resonant Alloys, which you just get from dismantling legendary weapons. I'm assuming these are obviously the weapons that you can craft with. So Callous Minotaur, for example, Peace of Mind is another example. If you dismantle those weapons, or weapons with a red border maybe, I believe that actually gives you Resonant Alloys. Drowned Alloys are obviously specific to the Vow of the Disciple raid. I don't know if this will actually apply into the upcoming raid, which is rumored to be Kingsfall, but I don't know, we'll have to wait and see for that. On to the next bits, we have obviously the Planetary Materials. As you can see, I've got 2,500 except for Dustlight Shards and Helium Filaments. I intend to fix that to 2,500. In all fairness, this is quite high. You can deal with lower. I know some players obviously have a lot more than this, but I think a good threshold for each of them is 1,000. So if you have above 1,000 of each planetary material, you're pretty much set for the new season. And the reason you're going to want the planetary materials is for these special little things called upgrade modules. Obviously, I've got a stack of 15 at the minute. You want to be aiming for a stack of 25 because that is the max stack. And if you're going with a max stack of upgrade modules for the new season, you can very quickly jump up the power levels as and when you get the right equipment. Also on the right here, we have engrams, and I'm full of Umbral Engrams, but I do know some people stack Trials engrams as well for when Trials comes around in the new season, because sometimes they'll release a new weapon and you'll be wanting to get rolls of it as quick as possible, which is perfectly fine. But at the very least, you should be stacking these with Umbral Engrams, just so you have some in the backlog for when you want to start focusing weapons in the new season. Now moving on to the main currencies, you have Glimmer and Legendary Shards. Obviously, Bright Dust is an optional thing, I'll go over that in a second. Obviously, I have quite a lot of Glimmer at the minute, so I'm going to show you very quickly what I do with excess Glimmer. If you go into your collections, and then go into your equipment, go into Sparrows, and then you are pretty much just going to be redeeming any kind of Sparrow that you want. The preferred one I do, I'm just going to try and find it very quickly. The one I normally do is called Other Side, which is under Season 3. You may or may not have it, it depends on how long you've been playing for and if it's in the store. But honestly, any of the other exotic Sparrows will do just fine, so don't worry too much if you don't have this one. This is just an example, so you're just going to want to acquire as many of these as you can. And the reason you want to do this is because when you dismantle this, as you can see on the right, you get your 5 legendary shards back that you had in the previous thing, and you had 5,000 Glimmer there as well. So you only lose 2,500 Glimmer per Sparrow, and you keep all the legendary shards that you put into it. A handy tip that I do recommend is that you stand next to the vault, and when you open the vault, you can literally just go straight into your inventory like so, and deposit your Other Side or whatever other Sparrow that you've redeemed. Go back into your collections from here, just redeem a couple more, and then you can go straight back to this screen, and there you go, deposit them straight back into your vault. And just a bit of a legacy kind of thing now, because this used to matter quite a bit when we had 500 vault spaces, but you're definitely going to want to have a fair amount of space in your vault. So ideally I'd say 150 slots is fine, because that should be plenty of a buffer to actually get the new weapons with, and store what you think might be a good roll and what might not be a good roll. Obviously, mine is a bit tragic with 450 in. It should be much lower because like half of these weapons I don't use anymore. Even though they are actually god rolls, I don't actually use half these weapons, so it might just be worth scrapping these one day. Finally, moving on to Bright Dust, which is completely optional by the way. You don't need to do this, but it's nice to have a small stockpile of Bright Dust available for when you go into the new season, so if any cosmetics show up or shaders, you can just get them straight away and not worry about Bright Dust. And the best way I know to get Bright Dust is to do the seasonal challenges. So you can see quite a lot of them here that I still haven't done. Quite a few of these actually reward Bright Dust on themselves, but the big one you're going to want to look for is the seasonal at the end, which is you do 72 of these seasonal challenges and you get a large pile of Bright Dust, which I believe is 1,500 Bright Dust. It could be more, I'm not entirely sure on that, but it's definitely a sizable amount to go into the new season with. Alternatively, you have Evil Levante, who has bounties that will also reward you with Bright Dust, especially the additionals and the weeklies. And in case you're crazy enough, yes, you can also get additional bounties from Zavala, which are unlimited, which also grant you Bright Dust. So there's a few ways to actually get Bright Dust at the minute. And my final piece of advice for the new season is to get your gear score up to 1570, which is the max at the moment. So complete your pinnacles wherever you can and get this up to 1570 just in preparation for the new season. I understand this can be quite a lot and it seems quite daunting, but trust me, you will thank yourself later for doing this. But that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.